today I want to look at pop-up speech bubbles. Here's one I made on Paint 3D. It's just a circle, a kind of bit of white paint over there and fill the middle on a transparent canvas. So you just got this speech bubble. That's here. Imported as a Sprite 2D UI. Since it's gone to 6, I seem to need to set this to single always and then apply, and that's done. Okay, so how do we create a new widget anyway for this? Now it has to be a nested canvas for a widget. So I mean, you got a few ways. You can duplicate the ones, the existing widgets like this. You can duplicate those, D1. What you're looking for is this canvas environment thing. Let's not duplicate that one. So we're creating a new widget here. The nested canvas, yeah, we just drag that here and it should come out as we wanted with the canvas environment because it's nested inside a top of the hierarchy canvas. It just gives it a reference to work on. Without that, it won't work properly within the display managers. It has to be a nested canvas for a UI widget prefab. We had the UI widget. Let's set this to size as such. Let's add a new image. So we'll add an image to it. It's relatively simple, width 100, 100. I think they're usually the wrong way around, but that shouldn't actually matter much for our purpose. We put the sprite onto it, the speech bubble onto this sprite. Let's zoom in. I mean, technically, once we put the text on, I think we need to be the other side. Let's have a look. Okay, so how big we want that. Of course, you can change these with scaling. We can make it a bit wider. If we wanted the big wides, we'll have something like that. All right, and then we'll put a Text Mesh Pro on it for the text. Rename speech. Let's try and line that up in the middle a bit more. Just make the text in the middle. That might work. All right. So here we've got the references to texts. Is that weird? Okay, so we just put that in there. So we've got the Text Mesh Pro for the speech. So we can reference that. Let's make it blank. Well, actually, we can use that. Yeah. Okay, so what we want to do now, we'll give it a name back in widgets. Rename. Is that renames? Rename speech bubble. One too many capital letters. Okay. Yes, we've got this here. Now we want a reference to this in Display Manager. Add a, call it speech, and whoops, speech, and we put speech bubble as the marker. That's how you get the reference in Display Manager. So now anything with a pop-up launcher, let's create a 3D object, a capsule. Let's make him big. Make it really big, actually. I'll show you how this will work. Let's put him somewhere in the middle. Is he under there? Is that not moving? Alright, so we've got this capsule. I'll move him here. What we want is a pop-up launcher, because we want speech bubbles that are pop-ups. So we put speech into here. Now we want to have the speech pop up. To do this, we need to create a pop-up test kind of script. There's these demo scripts. I'll create a, if you don't like coding, maybe fast forward, but here we go. Speech script pop-up. I want this to be very like pop-up test. Put it into the demo namespace so that I have the references to anything in there. What it needs is a reference to its pop-up launcher. Probably delete all of this, maybe not the update. Not sure how that's working. We could copy the random from there. I would just set a fixed chance. Let's say quite rarely it will. These make sense with 100, don't they? But it's percentage chance. So if ran is greater than 95, so 5% of the time. Frames, actually, that's a lot. That's probably almost 1,000. Quite rarely in frames. Yeah, every frame is going to be like a 0.3% chance that it will change the speech. Let's have a string sayings. So basically, I'm rubbish on syntax sometimes. Hello, goodbye, how are you? Okay, so it's got a few sayings, and the other one would be, we could time these out, but it's a bit slow. If ran is less than, you know, there's an interesting way to do this, is because you got 4 choices, 1, 2, 3, and it could be 0, min inclusive, yes, it could be 0, 1, 2 is less than 3. What we want to say is pop-up launcher dot spawn pop-up widget. Okay, that's how these work. So the string would now be sayings. This is the text that you enter, and it's just like the first text of the thing. I'm not sure if that's 100% clear, but it'll be 0, 1 or 2 less than 3. It will pick one of these 0, 1, 2. Okay, and it doesn't need any of the other stuff. Let's change like text settings if you wanted to. Also, if it's greater than 995, then he stops talking. And oh no, it doesn't. These I thought it was like a target. It doesn't matter. These just time out anyway. Yeah. So what do we got? That's possibly all we need. Is that might work to an extent. Let's see this in action. Capsule. It's reloading that. Okay, so we've got speech. I'm going to add speech pop-up. That's going to be running. Okay, so that's rigged up. Let's have a look, see if it works. And I think what's going to be wrong, waypoints on this huge capsule. Yeah, I mean, loosely that's working. We've got to put the offsets. We'll switch off the waypoints that are on. What it needs is an offset for the pop-up. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's sometimes obscured by the capsule, I think. So you've got the pop-up launcher. Not sure how much has been used previously, but that's got to be way higher. So it's a bit up to, actually up to the left didn't look too bad. But it has to be about 200, I think. 250, it's 300 call it, yeah. Yeah, 250. You can see how these work. So there it is. Sorry about the scrolling. Oh, it's just, it's mouse look at the whole demo scene. I get confused sometimes. You can see that's not too great because we've done this cam offset. I think the minus 100 is okay. So if we did that as 250, how does that come out? Every time I touch that. Where is it? We're upside down. There we go. So, okay. Bit lower. Yeah, something like that. 125. Because that's in world space, the object offset. So as we zoom in or out, kind of you can see how it's moving. It's not too bad. Hello. Here we go. That's how you make him say stuff. We could put, he could be saying more than one thing if we bothered putting a, as he is sometimes, he's just spawning a couple of them at the same time. But yeah, that's how a very basic speech system might work. You could expand on that quite a lot and using proper models, etc. Get the text to fit better on the UI widget. The speech bubble. Okay, thanks for watching.